So, let's do our top 5 games of all time. I think for the counting down from 5 to 4, let's just do a brief overview. We'll just do a quick back and forth.
Yeah, I haven't had much time to think about this. So it's gonna be on the fly.
Pull it out of your ass.
Which is good because it'll be more honest that way.
Yeah.
Like gut feeling on favorite games. You want to go from 5 all the way down to 1?
Yeah, because our number ones will spark the competition, the debate.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So I'll go first while you think of what a good number 5 would be.
I don't have my pen. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, my number 5 of all time is actually a ROM hack called Pokemon Crystal Clear. I'm super nostalgic for Pokemon Red and Gold growing up.
Oh yeah.
Playing it on my Game Boy, burning through AA batteries. And essentially what Crystal Clear does is it combines the two games together.
Okay.
And it allows you to choose from 30 different starters. It gets rid of all barriers, like trees, like guards that don't let you cross. You can go to any gym at any time. Like, Brock can be the 16th gym leader you face.
Sure.
But he will have 6 super high-powered Pokemon, because gym leaders scale to how many gym badges you have.
Okay.
And they add side stories, they add new Pokemon, just so many quality of life things. Yeah, it's my number 5. It's the perfect ROM hack in my mind.
God, ROMs are so cool. Like that's how Undertale, which I'm just gonna add to my list right here. That's how Undertale was born, pretty much, because Toby Fox was he did those Earthbound mods.
Really? I had no idea.
Oh yeah, and obviously Toby Fox is brilliant, so he did all the music and stuff. But like, yeah, he was like big on those forums, whether it was Reddit or whatever. But yeah, he was in that community of like modding Earthbound. And is that what I said before? Earthbound?
Yeah.
I might have said that. Okay. Yeah, that's how he pretty much got to start in doing Game Maker stuff. Was doing those mods for Earthbound, which I've said that now like 3 times.
It's dope, dude. ROM hacks are dope. Yeah, remixing old games.
Fox, and yep, I would love to do some like N64 or Zelda mods, but that is neither here nor there. I'm gonna put Roller Coaster Tycoon at my 5, just because like it's not a game I would normally think to put in the list, but that game, dude, I wouldn't be surprised if I've poured like 5,000 hours of my life into that game.
Wow.
Like, cause I played the original, like on weekends, like after school every day, all throughout elementary school. Well, 3rd grade on, like maybe 4th grade on up. Like, yeah, and you know, I stopped playing probably after middle school, or maybe, yeah, because at that point I was probably doing more Zelda games and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I'd put it at 5 just because like the original Roller Coaster Tycoon 2, and now that it's on mobile, like they ported it to mobile really well. And I'm sure not a lot of people are playing it, but like when COVID hit, I was playing Roller Coaster like every day. Just, you know, on my couch at home. Like just amazingly balanced game. I mean, that game was programmed entirely in assembly code.
Wow.
Which is like basically ones and zeros. I mean, not really, but kind of.
It may as well be magic to me.
Yeah, I think Chris Sawyer, I think, is the name of the developer. Not Tom Sawyer. Right? I think Chris Sawyer.
You said
yeah.
Tom Sawyer?
No, I think it is Chris. I don't know. It's something Sawyer, but he's a mad genius because that game is a true masterpiece in my opinion. Like building roller coasters and all that stuff.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's 5.
Rock on. My number 3 and 4 commonly switch.
Oh yeah.
Just for tonight, I'll put. We'll do Smash Ultimate. Speaking of Toby Fox,
There you
Yeah.
go. Okay.
Speaking of Toby Fox, he played with Sakurai. Just
Yeah,
Toby Fox went to Japan and
I know.
played
I know.
Smash Brothers. It was.
Yeah, and he learned Japanese.
That's.
I think he described in an interview, like via text, because he doesn't like to talk a lot in interviews,
Mhm.
that he kind of at that point he was still learning Japanese, so it was kind of broken Japanese, but he was still able to communicate with him.
Mhm.
And then of course Sans is in Ultimate as a skin of, or what do they call it?
Me
The me
costume.
fight me
Yeah,
me
me
fighter,
fighters.
yeah, me fighter, me gunner.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still wish they would have actually made him a character, but what can you do?
Yeah.
That's good enough.
I will take it.
Yeah.
I just love this celebration of video games. Just uh, every
Yeah.
character I grew up with. I mean, we grew up with. I mean, we grew up with the
Yeah.
N64. I think
Hell
we're
yeah.
yeah a little past NES, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's just a solid game. There's no other brawler that can match it. People have
No.
tried and it just doesn't.
No.
PlayStation All Stars, like they tried and they failed. They didn't even come close to the
It
quality.
failed. Yeah,
Yeah.
not even close.
You can just tell Sakurai's a huge nerd in all those
Yeah.
presents that he has. So
Oh
his
yeah.
love of fighting games just he just
Do you,
poured into this.
do you
What's
like
up?
how he uses the controllers and he like does two at once
He's a
like
psycho.
yeah,
He's
it's insane.
insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, for anybody who doesn't know, in the directs, he doesn't play
Yeah.
with another person when he's showing
Yeah,
off a
he's
character.
literally just yeah.
Yeah, he puts two controllers on his desk and he controls both of them, one with each hand.
Yeah.
It's mind blowing.
Mad genius if there ever was one. Um
Yeah, I can't say much else
Man,
about it.
I really actually do want to put a Super Mario game on my list, but
Mhm.
I just I just don't know if I can. Like I'd probably want to put Mario 64. See, here's my dilemma, right? Like I would love to fill up this list with 5 Zelda games, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to do
Hey,
that.
you can if you want. It's your list.
I you know, okay, we'll get to this later. So
Okay.
I'll make that decision then. I'll put Mario 64 on my list just because that game, like the nostalgia with that game for me is like that is prime nostalgia. That is like um that's Christmas 1995 or whatever.
Yeah.
Like memories. Like I will never forget. Like I got a bunch of mechanical pencils because they were all the rage at that year or something. So I had like my 7 like colored mechanical pencils there on my chair, and like I had my N64 controller in my hands playing Mario 64 in my basement when I was like 7 years old maybe.
Mhm.
Like doesn't get much better than that memory. Um,
Yeah, you have that
and
burned
I,
into your
it's in
brain.
there. It's in there. Um, but I was debating whether to put Mario 64 or Diddy Kong Racing in that spot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because yeah, um, Diddy Kong Racing, in my opinion, is like the best racing game ever made. Like
I can get behind that.
it's just perfect. I might have to do an honorable mention for Diddy Kong Racing
Yeah.
because god damn that game. Like the music. Ah, music's so good. You know what? No, I'm taking Mario 64 off.
Oh shit.
I'm putting Mario 64 in the honorable mentions.
Mm-hmm.
No, Diddy Kong, like I listen to Diddy Kong Racing like soundtrack probably once a year. And that's being modest. Maybe it's more than that. Like those jams, David Weiss, man. Yeah, go for it. Your turn.
I'm the same way with
Are
Mystical.
we
What?
with what?
Oh, Mystical Ninja starring Goemon. If I'm
Oh,
just
nice.
having a shitty day at work, I just put on the
Yeah.
OST. It's just.
Yeah,
Ugh.
yeah, nice. Yeah, it's a very upbeat soundtrack.
Mhm.
That's Diddy Kong Racing.
Yeah.
All right, so
What were you about to ask?
that was our third
No, that was a
our
fourth.
third game. That was our okay. Yeah. That was our fourth. Okay. All right.
Right?
I'm gonna have to make edits to this.
Oh
Yeah.
no, it's unofficial.
For me, it was RCT, and then I said,
Diddy Kong.
yeah, Diddy Kong. So that was only 2 so far.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So
now-
now we're on the third. Now we're in the third. Okay. Cool.
Number 3, Final
Yeah.
Fantasy 9. Final
Oh,
Fantasy.
9.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Uh, I mean, Final Fantasy. It's the reason why I'm a Sony fanboy. You know,
Yep.
I'm
Yep.
kind of with Nintendo too, but like
Hell yeah.
I've been
No, no,
so
no. You're Sony. I'm Nintendo.
yeah. I'm a
That's how this
little
podcast
Xbox,
is
but
going.
but
Eh. Honorable mention. Honorable mention.
honorable mention Xbox.
Yeah.
It's I don't know what I can really say about it. Uh,
Yeah.
this is also a love letter to classic Final Fantasy games. I just remember pouring so much time into like the GBA ports of 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
I remember going to like Toy Wiz in the Fox Valley Mall in Aurora, and I picked up Final Fantasy
Awesome.
7 just willy nilly. This was before Final
Yeah.
Fantasy 7 was impossible to find. It
Yeah.
was selling for like $300 on eBay.
Okay.
But yeah, I was just burning through Final Fantasy games,
Yeah.
and just 9 is charming. I love the love story. I love the characters.
Hmm.
Uh, I I really don't know
Yeah.
what else I can really say about the music's amazing. It just strikes a chord. I'm sure a lot of it's nostalgia.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
I mean that. Look. Okay, hold on. Nostalgia, as much as it does affect us, like it's a very real part of it. You know, it.
Hmm.
We're talking about favorite games, right? Not objectively like, oh, what do we think the greatest games of all time are? You know, this is our favorites list.
Yeah,
So nostalgia is a big factor.
that's a good
If
point.
we were trying to objectively like decide what the greatest games ever are, maybe I would take nostalgia out of it, you know.
Yeah,
So all right, I'm
but
just amending my list here. Hold on.
yeah, go for it.
All right. Okay, so I'm gonna say, mm, God, it's so hard. I'll put Undertale here.
Cool.
I will put Undertale here. Just because it was life changing for me. It was also a game where it was kind of a pivotal time in my life because that was when um I was at that time in my life. This was like 2018-ish, 2017, 2018.
Hmm.
I was going from I was getting laid off from Creative Kingdoms, which is the game that did the Great Wolf Lodge game that I was telling you about,
Hmm.
and we also did like a game for NASA. You know, no big deal. It was like a Kennedy Space Center educational experience. So
Yes.
after we finished that project, they had to lay a bunch of us off because it was a very small studio, you know.
Hmm.
But I had just gotten a job for Lost Boys Interactive, which at that time was a studio of like 3 people, and I was like the first artist they hired. And then shortly after that, we hired a bunch more people to up to like I think about 15 people maybe. And now Lost Boys is like at 200 employees. It's insane,
Yeah.
uh, which is really like really cool for them. Um, but that was the first time I was living on my own. So I had just moved into like this new apartment. That was a studio apartment, really cool place. So I've got those nostalgia feels there. Like I was living on my own. Undertale had just come out, and I got on my laptop and I just burned through that game. Like, and we were crunching really hard at that time for Lost Boys,
Wow.
like trying to do, like I was burning both ends of the candle, man.
Hmm.
I was doing our contract work for Human Head Studios at the time, which is now called Roundhouse Studios, bought by Bethesda. And so I was working so hard, and like it felt so good to like finish work and then just play Undertale and like decompress. And it was like,
Yeah,
this game is so amazing.
it's
And if
your
you've played
escape.
that, you've played it, right?
Yeah.
Like, God, that game is so fucking creative. Like, for anyone who doesn't know, just real quick, like, it's retro graphics, like almost NES style, 8-bit pretty much. But it's like detailed 8-bit, right? Because all the bosses have way more pixels. Everything's animated. Like the music is like a fusion of like 16-bit music with, orchestration even like the creativity on this game is over 9,000. Like
Dude,
it really is. It's like you
s-
just have to experience it. There's no way to describe it,
everyone
but
everyone talks about
uh,
Megalovania, but Spider Dance is a
that's just
stroke
yeah.
of
That's the
genius.
tip of the iceberg, man. Megalovania is the tip of the iceberg. Spider Dance is great too. Like, And there's a bunch of remixes that are just dubstep, like hard style remixes. Just ah.
I need to go
So
back to Undertale. That's
yeah,
I was kind of like,
play Deltarune too, man. Play Deltarune.
is it like finished? Like,
Well,
does that?
okay,
Oh
okay.
no.
Every time I bring up Deltarune to people, they're like, "Well, I don't want to play it yet because it's not all out yet." Like I was just at Ramen San downtown Chicago, this ramen place,
I
and he
worked
saw
in their
my.
basement.
Oh
Oh
really?
yeah, I
Oh yeah,
texted you that. Yeah, yeah.
I went to Ramen San Deluxe, which is in Streeterville or whatever.
Um.
It's like a little bigger.
Mhm.
But the guy liked my hat, and I was like, "Oh yeah, have you played Deltarune?" He's like, "Well, no, because I need more of the game to sink my teeth into or whatever." I'm like,
Yeah.
that is fair. That is fair. There's two chapters out,
Hmm.
but he's gonna release the next two chapters at once. So it's two two chapters right now, then two more at once, which is probably gonna happen relatively soon. And then I think it sounds like he's getting more help, so he might release them faster. But
Cool.
um, also, if you don't know, it's not really. I mean, it's like Undertale, but if Undertale is 8-bit, then Deltarune is like 16-bit.
Hmm.
Like it's a little upgrade. It's more like Super Nintendo. But I digress.
Dude,
What's your number three?
his next one should be like N64 graphics.
Yeah.
Kind of like how Mother 3 was being
Ah,
made
no,
for.
no, no. You mean after Deltarune is totally finished? Then maybe.
Yeah,
Fuck.
a Mother 3 N64 graphical
Uh,
style.
yeah.
Anyways, my number
Maybe.
what? Yeah, who
Oh,
knows? My number 2, Resident
yeah.
Evil 4. This
Hell
game,
yes. Hell yes. Thank you for putting that on your list.
this game is just
Oh
absurd.
my god.
I, my, going back to my childhood,
Yep.
I remember I walked into GameStop and for some reason I had $100 and something, and I bought
Okay.
the two biggest releases within like the past couple years. It was Resident Evil 4 and Twilight Princess.
Oh,
I,
fuck.
I went home, I popped in Twilight Princess,
Yeah.
and I was so bored. Even as a kid, I was like,
In Twilight Princess, yeah.
yeah,
It's a rough beginning to that
rough start.
game. It takes a long time to
Yeah,
get into the story.
so I took
Yeah.
that game disc out. I popped in Resident Evil 4 because everybody's talking about it.
Oh yeah.
It opens up with Leon
Yeah.
in that forest, and I think it's like, for anyone out there who's played Bloodborne, I thought it was like Forbidden Woods level of open. Like,
Oh.
the
Yeah.
forest is huge. There could be
Uh-huh.
anything walking around. I was too scared. I turned it off. So I
Oh.
just bought these two new games,
Oh, that's
and I
hilarious.
didn't want to play either one. I was too scared to play Resident Evil 4. But
You
after,
kept playing
what?
them though, right? You.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
eventually
Okay.
finished them. I grew
That's a funny story though.
I
That's
grew a
pretty funny.
pair. But Resident Evil
That's great.
4 is a game I play at least once a year.
Yeah.
It's just the perfect mix of survival horror,
Yeah.
third person shooting, kind of like
Yep.
arcadey. I don't want to say something like Time Crisis, but
Yeah. 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 No, that's. I mean, it's not on rails basically, but yeah, it's a lot like
yeah,
that.
every time you aim, you stop and play. So it's kind of like a
Yeah,
Time
you have
Crisis,
to.
House of the Dead kind of thing.
Okay. Did you play it on GameCube or Wii?
I think. Oh, I think I've beaten it on everything.
I know, but
Yeah,
when you originally played it, what was it on?
yeah, it was GameCube.
Okay, because I played it on Wii.
Mm-hmm.
Because it came out,
That's
I think, the same time on Wii and GameCube. Or no, no, no. Did they re-release it? I don't know.
it originally came out on GameCube, later came to PS2, and then came to
Okay,
Wii after
okay,
all that.
okay. After all that, first time I played it was on Wii.
Easy mode.
So like, well, I mean, obviously you only have the nunchuck and the Wiimote, so it's like to turn around you had to do this weird back face thing where you do a certain like I think you'd like pull back,
Hmm.
so like you would immediately, but you couldn't like control the camera like at all.
Yeah.
So it was almost like more terrifying and more hard because like you knew that someone was chasing you and you couldn't like strafe while you were walking, so you had to just like stop and turn around. It's yeah,
Yeah,
fantastic game.
it's the perfect.
Oh no, I just
What?
remembered another game I want to put on this list. Fuck, dude.
We
I'm
could
gonna have
just.
to like move. I'm gonna have to like. Okay, I'll give you. We'll keep going, and I'll give you the final thing at the
I
end.
mean, we could throw it in. I don't think anybody's holding us at
We'll
gunpoint
see.
right now.
We'll see. Okay. Are we doing? So I have to give you my number two, right?
Yeah, yeah, go for it.
Okay. Do you have any guesses?
Fuck.
It's Nintendo. It's one of the main Nintendo franchises, and it's sci-fi.
Sci-fi. Oh, Star Fox 64?
Oh, that's another one I want to put on here, but Metroid Prime.
Okay.
Just because, and there's a lot. Like I can't. I would fill this up with N64 games if I could, okay? But I want to keep this, I want to keep this balanced.
Yeah, a
So I'm
little variety.
putting a GameCube game in there. Um, yeah, Metroid. I mean, also it was yeah, game changing for me, like life changing. I mean, like because I was never a first person shooter guy. My brother played Halo. My brother played Call of Duty. Those games were coming out around this time, but I wasn't really into those. I liked Halo; it was cool, but I didn't play it.
Mhm.
But I played Metroid Prime, and I just thought it was so cool. And that was a game where my brother and I kind of were both really into it because he was into those first-person shooters. So that was like it was some common ground for us, where we were both just super stoked about that game. Um, and he watched me play it a lot of it. My brother would watch me play a lot of games. Um, and actually, this is a kind of a this is a story. But my brother, we were near the end of the game, and my brother got like he just got a fever one day during like a football or a baseball game, and they were on their way home, and he like couldn't say the alphabet. Like he
Whoa.
had encephalitis, lacrosse encephalitis from like a mosquito,
Weird.
and we thought he could die, basically. And I just remember that, and he had just recovered miraculously. Um, and I just felt so bad for him, and like I just was so scared, and so relieved that he was okay. I just remember wheeling him out of the hospital in a wheelchair
Hmm.
to this RV that we had. And I had the GameCube set up in there so we could finish the game, and we just sat down and we finished it.
Yeah.
And he had
Wow.
just recovered from this like life-threatening disease or sickness, whatever. It was like, so that's a memory.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
There's so many.
but
Yeah.
on top of that, I just love the environments in that game, and I love how like that game at that time was the definition of immersive, right? I mean, Samus's visor with like the water droplets and stuff they were putting on her visor in like you felt like you were in the world. It was just flawless,
Hmm.
and you could scan stuff, and like there was like text about every unique enemy, and it was just I could just gush about the game for a long time.
Yeah, that
But everything about it was just sweet.
that one got lost in the
Yeah.
mess, rough. What's that stupid phrase? Um, yeah, like growing up, like for GameCube games, like stuff like Eternal Darkness and stuff, I never played. So there's
Yeah.
like a couple ones. Unfortunately, Metro Prime is one of them. But from what I have like heard,
Yeah,
is
that's
that
fair.
it perfectly translated a lot like RE4.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's Super Metroid into like a first person shooter, like the
Hmm.
environments and the way you like attacked
Yeah,
enemies and got upgrades and stuff.
yeah,
It's like a perfect
yeah,
transition or
totally.
translation.
Yep.
And there's possibly a remake coming. Apparently, it's done. Nintendo's just holding on to
Uh,
it.
wait. For Resident Evil 4?
No. Oh, Resident Evil 4, yeah, is being remade, but Metroid Prime, it's rumored that the remake for that game
That's right. Like a
is.
total remake is
Mhm.
what you're saying. Like not just like a reskin upres, we're talking a remake. I did
No.
hear that. I don't know if those are true.
Yeah, we'll see.
'Cause I mean they're doing Metroid Prime 4. Like that's what Retro is working on.
Hmm.
So, um, yeah. Who knows though, right? But RE4 is on the Oculus apparently, which I still have to play.
I played it. It's amazing.
On Oculus?
Yeah.
Do you have one?
No, I borrowed my
Oh,
friends,
okay. Okay.
but
Yeah,
yeah, it
it's
is.
great.
It's so like that game is already wacky and crazy and over the top as is,
Yeah.
But now you can like run up to enemies with your gun and your knife, and I'm just like juggling, just like being
I
a
don't know if I'd
complete.
call it. I wouldn't call it wacky. I wouldn't call Resident Evil 4 wacky.
Your right hand comes off. It's
In
like
Resident Evil. Oh,
yeah,
I
Resident
see.
Evil 4. Like
Okay,
it's
for that reason. Okay, all right,
yeah,
that's
it's
fair.
it's just a weirdo, crazy game, and just
Yeah,
like having full control of your movements just makes it even more like
yeah, I can
I
see
don't
that.
know. It's
I
really
can see
fun.
that.
If you ever get a chance, go for it.
Yeah, no, I have an Oculus Quest 2, so I'll be playing that.
Sweet. All
All
right,
right,
my
we're at
number
number
one
one.
is right over there on my wall, actually. The
Hell yeah,
Legend of Zelda: Majora's Mask for Nintendo 64,
perfect game,
released in the year 2000, one year
perfect 10.
after Ocarina. I love
Yep,
this game.
yeah,
It's another game I play yearly ever since release, so I've beaten it at least 22 times.
yeah.
There's just something so
Every year, wow.
yeah, RE4 and Majora's Mask.
More dedicated than I am.
Well, I mean, I know everything, so like I can knock it out in
Yeah.
a day, 2 days.
So you 100%ed it.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Okay.
The DS version and the N64 version.
Speedrun?
No, I have my own kind of speed run,
Sure.
but it doesn't come
Yeah,
close.
I got you. I got you.
I think I can 100% it in like 7 or 8 cycles. So
Wow.
I don't know.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
don't know
you
if that's
know.
good or not.
You know.
I just stick with what I like did as a kid.
What's your record for the squid shooting game in Clocktown?
I have no
Because
idea.
I was pretty good at that. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. That's a good question. I'll try it out. I'll try
We
it out
should
on my
do
ear.
we should do a stream and compete.
Let's do it. I'm down for it, man. But
Um,
this game
yeah,
just I don't know what it is about Termina, walking around town and seeing all these characters. There's
yeah,
something about going into that inn and just like it's so quiet and
yeah. The
calming.
atmosphere,
The atmosphere
dude.
is a great word
Just the
for it.
fact that there's no music in there at night, or maybe it's.
I think it's
I think it's
always
only. I think it's only at night. I think there. It. Oh man,
you just have the
that's a good
clock turning.
question. The whole, even during the day, there's no like inside the house music.
Oh well. Now you're making me
I think there
you're
is
making me
during the
second
day.
guess myself.
You have to check it, man.
Cause yeah,
I really
I just think of going to Andrew at
yeah.
midnight to
No, no, no.
accept
Definitely
her
at
letter.
night.
Yeah,
There's no
yeah, you're
music.
right.
I think it. I'm just a big music guy in games, so
Hmm.
I have a gut feeling about that. But
Hmm.
I also listen to the Game Grumps
I'll
play
take
it
your
a
word
lot.
for it. Yeah, but this game,
Yeah.
it's so like, it's so real. I'm a big procrastinator, but like a lot of times when I
Yeah, me
procrastinate
too.
something that I'm really passionate about, it really turns into something special. I don't have any
Ooh,
examples. I'm not gonna bring them up, but
that's interesting.
I feel like this team really wanted to do something different because they only had like a year to make it,
Totally. Yep. Or
reusing
less.
assets.
Yep.
Andrew's side quest with Cafe is like so prominent in the
Dude.
game, but in Ocarina, Andrew's
Yeah.
just some chick who lost all her cuckoos. Like,
I don't
and
even think she has a name in that. It. There's no name. It's
no,
just the cuckoo lady.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
I love how like detail oriented the game is, where people are still finding secrets.
Yeah.
One of the big ones that they found back in the day, but like if at a certain time the postman has to come to
Dude,
Andrew,
yes.
freak her
Yeah.
out, you get the key to
Yep.
the room,
In that
and
sequence.
if you don't activate the Andrew Cafe side quest,
Yep.
go into the second room, you can hear her mother talking to Andrew, and it's just like this depressing. He's not
Yes.
coming back to
Yep.
you. We're going
Right.
to your friend Cremia's
God.
like
And they
farmhouse.
thought it. And they thought of that. They like. Yeah. That's so
People
great.
are still. I saw a video the other day.
Uh.
You could see Romani if she gets abducted by aliens.
Yeah.
There is a point of nighttime on the second day where she's like lobotomized and walking around
Yeah.
in the
Yep.
field.
Yeah. Yeah.
How many more times do I need to play this game to see everything that's in it?
It's disturbing. Yeah.
But just to
I'm sure at this point you've seen everything.
oh
Probably.
maybe I don't
I
think
think
so.
so.
I
I
don't
think
know.
so.
Maybe.
Dude, 22 times.
But
Every corner of the Great Bay, even under
mhm.
the water. I'll bet.
Yeah, those damn beavers.
Quick question before we move on, though. Do you prefer original or the 3DS remake?
Original.
Yeah, of course.
Original.
Okay.
I love the whole.
They messed up so much stuff in that
So
remake.
bad.
They bastardized it.
It's
I'm sorry.
so bad. It yeah,
The most egregious thing, in my opinion, was the swimming, the Zora swimming. They fucked that up.
Zora swimming sucks ass, and I think being
Yeah,
able to choose the exact time you want to go to really
that's cheating. Yeah, it's
ruins the
cheating.
effect of banking all your progress at the end of the
Yeah.
third day. Like you've
Yes.
earned all this
Yes.
shit, and that feeling is so good.
I
Um,
I do like that you can skip the Song of Soaring cutscene though
mm,
each time.
that's true.
I just remember being in agony waiting for that little cutscene to play out every time I wanted to warp. like
Yeah,
oh my God,
it's
just
brutal.
go, please. Yeah.
I will
Anyways,
say one more thing with
yeah, please.
because I'm being overly long with Majora's Mask, but
This is number one. It's
being a
fine.
kid, yeah, that's true. Being a kid, I don't know if we were all kind of depressed. It may be a thing. I don't really care to know, but there was like a certain sadness that I really had, and I feel
Yeah.
like this game, just like the timer always being in the bottom of the screen, counting down, the moon's coming. People are afraid of death. They're all coping with it in different ways, and Link is just like this boy who runs around and I don't feel like he's doing much, but he's helping these people come to terms with everything that's going on, like the postman or Kathy and Anju or
Yep.
the mayor unable to decide whether people should stay or
Yeah.
go.
Hmm.
Um, I I don't know. I really think this game helped me find perspective in life and just know that yeah we all have our own
Awesome.
timers counting down and you really need to appreciate things and I just
Yeah.
feel like that
Oh, it's
even
so
though it's so
good. It's
depressing,
so
I
good.
found some sort of positivity in it that I still keep to this day, and I fucking love it so much.
Yeah, dude. Well said.
Yeah, thanks.
Well said. Um,
Do it, duder.
I would also put Majora at number one, but I just can't bring myself to because Ocarina is my favorite
Mm.
game
Mhm.
ever. Like, it's number one. It's um I mean that was a very that made me want to put it Majora at number one for sure. Just because it is God, like especially considering the amount of time they had to make Majora, it was a perfect game. Um and the timer never bothered me like it did everybody else, but
Mhm.
for me, it's not only the nostalgia, of playing through that game with my brother and my cousin, actually, but it's the design of the game. It's the adventure and it's the hero's journey, which I'm sure you've heard of. I actually studied this in college. It's called the monomyth or the hero's journey. It's
Mhm.
basically like all mythology can be boiled down to a certain kind of formula, and there are differences in the formula depending on what story you're experiencing. But Star Wars follows this, Zelda follows this, roughly. But it's about being called to adventure, accepting the call to adventure, and there's all these steps. You know, there's certain hardships, whatnot. There's crossing the threshold, I think it's called,
Mhm.
and then like combating whatever, and then returning through the threshold, which for Link is the kind of threshold of maturity, or what have you. Um, but all that aside, the things I prefer about Ocarina over Majora are the temples.
100%.
I like everyone hates the water temple, but it's probably my favorite environment in any game ever. Just because of whatever whatever sound sampling program Koji Kondo was using was like perfect for that era.
Mhm.
Like that soundtrack of that temple and like just and if you go back and play these games, Majora and Ocarina, like you will be surprised at the subtlety and the fidelity of some of the sound effects and like the textures being used even. Like it doesn't look as ugly as people think. Everyone rips on N64 because like, oh, the textures are so like looks like pixel vomit or whatever.
Yeah.
No. No, go back and play those games and then tell me it looks like pixel vomit. Like those are gorgeous environments.
A lot of people are playing on like modern TVs too, but like
That's
those
true.
games were
That is true.
designed to be played
Yeah.
on a CRT.
There's
So
something to
yeah.
be said for that. But like Ocarina, I just love kind of the theming of each dungeon and like and the atmosphere. And Majora has atmosphere too, like we discussed. Like,
Hmm.
that like the Stockpot Inn is a prime example. But just being underground too, and like water droplets falling. But like, Deku Tree to Dodongo's Cavern to inside Lord Jabu Jabu.
Yeah.
Like that's so cool. Um, and like even Master Quest is cool because there's like cows inside Jamu Jabu. Um, but then like it gets so dark. It gets dark as fuck in the well. Like that dead hand
Dude, it's
or
spooky.
Dedo Hando in Japanese. Yeah, it's fucking scary. And one of the coolest items, in my opinion, is the Lens of Truth.
Hmm.
Like, there's just something so cool about that Sheikah mythology, and like, that's another thing about Ocarina. They built such an in-depth world, and that's why there's so many theory videos about it.
Hmm.
Because you can make up all this shit. Like, what was the Forest Temple used for? What even is that place?
Yeah.
Like, and Zeltic did a video that's like, oh, maybe it's like a training ground for like the Knights of Hyrule or whatever. Like that stuff is so fucking inspiring for me. Um,
Yeah, they're integrated really well into
oh
the
my
world
God,
too. It's
dude.
not just a giant door,
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
you got to cross a
yeah.
desert to get to the
Exactly,
uh
exactly. And
yeah.
yeah, and I just love all the mythology of the Triforce and stuff, and you just don't get that in Majora.
Hmm.
And as cool as Majora is, like, I, I will, I will actually definitely say like Majora's design as a villain is definitely cooler than Ganondorf.
Hmm.
But like that final battle with going like the bridge, crossing the bridge to Ganon's castle, and then going all the way up, and that music gets louder and louder, like the organ gets
Fuck.
louder, and you're like, oh my god,
Dude, when he pulls out the
like
swords and the
oh
lightning in the
yeah,
background, Ganon, like
yeah,
what's
that
the
and that
exact
final
tagline? Do you know? The
point,
Great
it's just
Beast,
it's no, it's Ganon, Ganon,
just Ganon.
it's Ganon, because
Fuck.
you know what this is.
Yeah.
Ganondorf, it says oh god, I better get this right.
This will be on the quiz.
Ganondorf, Great King of Evil. I'm
Mm,
pretty sure. The Great King of Evil,
that
Ganondorf.
sounds right.
But when it's Ganon, it just says fucking Ganon.
Maybe I'm thinking of Breath
And
of the Wild.
that's another, yeah, probably.
Mm.
But yeah, let's not talk about that final boss. That was an abomination.
Mm,
That
that
was the biggest disappointment of the game for
that's
me. Was
its
the final boss.
Breath of the Wild's its own podcast.
It's a great game though.
Yeah.
This whole thing is its own podcast.
Yeah.
But that I was just gonna say that's another travesty from the 3DS remake is that they brightened up that final battle at the end.
Hmm.
They made everything bright. But in the original game, when he like takes those swords out and you're fighting Ganon, you pretty much just see his silhouette and you see his glowing eyes and everything's dark and the sky is dark and stormy and it's like perfect.
Just like when you
And
die
like,
in Zelda
God
2, all you see is a
damn it.
silhouette, you know? There's
Yeah.
like
Yes. Yes. And that
fuck.
ending, just so many feels with that whole game. So that's and I'll admit, yeah, I do like the characters in Majora, how they all have a name and they all have a story, and like you said, it almost feels more real in a weird way. Like Majora feels like it feels like a dream world, but it feels like a real, like the people feel real. So there's just something
Yeah.
weird and freaky about that game. Also, and I will say, the part where you heal the little girl's father in the music box house brings me to tears.
Oh, fuck, dude.
Every
Yeah.
time. It makes me cry real tears.
You're just
Like,
having a bad dream.
yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, it makes me cry big time.
The music that swells up afterwards.
Pretty sure there are multiple parts of Majora that make me cry. But, anyways, yeah, so Ocarina. Number one. It always pretty much has been number one.
It got a lot of things
yeah.
right when games were trying to be 3D.
I think it's also still the only game that has a perfect score on Metacritic
Really?
out of all games. It's a perfect
Shit.
100. Yeah. Metacritic just compiles everybody's or lots of different reviews.
Mm-hmm.
But so looking back at the list, um I want to put Dead Space in there.
Ooh,
Like
yeah.
you talking about Resident Evil 4 reminded me of Dead Space. I played Dead Space for the first time probably in like 2016,
Mhm.
2015 maybe.
Yeah.
Um, so I would maybe put that like between Metroid Prime and Under. I'd probably put it at. So I'd go Ocarina, Metroid Prime, Undertale, then Dead Space, and then I'd have to knock down uh,
Roller coaster.
Roller Coaster Tycoon probably, just because I did play that game more as like a hobby. It wasn't super special to me in any way. It was just something I really liked.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that deserves an honorable mention. So Ocarina, Metroid Prime, Undertale, Dead Space. Oh, and then Banjo-Kazooie. I forgot about
Yeah.
Banjo-Kazooie.
It's
Fucking,
hard. It's hard to put down into
yeah,
five.
so many, yeah. Anyways, there's a lot, but
Yeah, I'll throw out Deadly Premonition,
there you go.
Evil Within 2, and Mystical Ninja Star and Goemon,
Yeah.
which came out before Ocarina of Time. Amazing
All
music,
games I've
fun
never played,
characters.
unfortunately, but yeah.
Ah, dude,
I just never had a PlayStation growing up, man.
Mhm.
Just never. I played Chocobo Racing on PlayStation because
Well,
my cousin had it.
Mystical Ninja's on N64,
Oh, okay.
so I
That's right.
could
That's right.
lend you my sacred cart if you are
Ooh.
interested.
I mean, I have my N64 hooked up right now, so I could play it. But
All right.
yeah, this was a lot of fun though.
Yeah, hell yeah, it
This was
was.
a lot of fun.